Katrina Madewell here, and I am going to give you 11 things to know about what happens after I list my home for sale. And these are some of the things that you might not think would surprise you, but they actually may. Number one, a for sale sign. So oftentimes we hear from our sellers that once that for sale sign actually hits the ground, that's kind of like when the reality sets in that their home is actually for sale. So don't let that startle you. Number two, you can get showings right away. So be prepared for showings, even showings on short notice. Sometimes these are some of your best showings where you will get the highest offer. You never know what relocation client is in town, or they could have simply been driving by, just saw the sign go up, and it wasn't on their initial list. So be prepared for short notice showings. Number three, watch out for repeat showings. If you have an agent that's already been to your home and they've actually come back, that's a very good sign. That's what we call a second showing or a repeat showing. And oftentimes this is a really good sign that the buyer is looking to make an offer on your home very soon. A lot of times that's going to be accompanied by many of the questions that we get, like how much is their average electric bill? How old is the roof? And a lot of those common questions that we get. You also want to watch out for a sign of slowing showings or where they're basically trickling down and you had a lot of activity and now not so much. That's a really good indicator that you may have missed the mark on price. Next on our list, feedback. So this is really important because the feedback is what we get from the other agents or buyers and their agents that have shown the home to let us know what they thought about the home. And so some of the feedback we're getting is pretty detailed. We want to know what they thought about the inside of the home, the outside of the home, how they felt it was priced. There's a lot of key indicators on there that we are looking to get answers to, and that lets us know how we're performing based on the showings that we're getting. You will get those during regular showings with us, and I have someone on my team that's her number one job is to chase agents for showings and make sure we get that to you quickly and efficiently. Number five, weekly updates. So we're going to give you regular weekly updates so that you know what's going on around you, how your listing is performing, and how other homes just like yours stack up. We'll do that initial snapshot when we put your home in the market, but it's really important for us to look through this every single week to see how your listing is performing on a weekly basis. That tells us how we're doing, and if other buyers are actually passing your home up for another home. We want to know that so that we know what we can correct so that they choose your home the next time around. Number six, we want to prepare for the home inspector. So if you didn't get a pre-listing home inspection, it's going to be really important that we prepare for the buyer's inspector when they come. So what does this even mean? How do you prepare for the buyer's home inspector? Well, one thing that's really important, and it's a common thing that we see very often, when people are pre-packing and getting ready for their move, a lot of times they will pack those boxes up in the garage. And we need to be very careful to make sure there is nothing blocking the hot water heater, the HVAC, the electrical panel, the attic access. All of those things are really important things that the inspector is going to need to get to. And if those items are actually blocked during the home inspector's time to visit the home, they can actually require or want to come back out for a reinspection. And guess who they're going to be looking to bill for that reinspection fee? That's right, the seller. So make sure those items are free of all of those items so that the home inspector can very easily get to those without having to move anything around. Number seven, prepare for defects. So especially if you've lived in your home for a long time or you may have some amount of deferred maintenance, there could be many things maybe you haven't paid attention to for a while. And that's normal, right? Because we're not climbing on our roof regularly or getting in our attic, but the inspector will be in those places. And so we want to make sure that we basically prepare for major things that could come up on your 4-point inspection. Your 4-point inspection, well, that's your roof, your electrical, your HVAC, and your plumbing. So if there's any of those items that are flagged on there as a safety concern or a defect, we're going to have to be prepared to deal with those for your buyer because it can actually affect their ability to get insurance. Next on our list is the appraisal. So how do you prepare for the appraisal? This is the next major hurdle that you will have going through the process anytime you have a buyer buying your home. Now, What we like to do is supply the appraiser with a list of comparable home sales so that we can justify the offer that we got from the buyer. The best thing you can do as the seller to prepare for this appraisal is to make sure your home is just as tidy as it was for showings, make sure it's super clean, and have a list of improvements that you have made ready for the appraiser. And when you've done those, and if you have an estimated cost on what it was to do those repairs, those are going to be really important details and information to give to the appraiser. Next on our list is going to be the commitment from the lender. Now, this is a big one, and it's actually really important. We pay attention to this and make sure that we are getting the commitment letter from the buyer's lender on our listings. And so what does this mean? So your commitment letter is basically a commitment to lend. And so this means that the lender has gone through all the details in the file. They've asked for additional information. Underwriting has reviewed it. And if there's any major sticking items that could actually hinder the sale, we will see that in the commitment when we get it from the lender. So this is a really, really big thing that you don't want to pass up or miss before the final thing on our list, which is actually vacating for closing. Now, some people don't know this, but you have to actually be vacated by the day of closing, because the day of closing technically belongs to the buyer. So have we had some sellers that have their entire house packed up with everything except for their bed, and they load it on the moving truck the morning of the closing? Sure, we absolutely have. But you want to make sure that you're vacated out of the home free of yourself, all of your items, and any trash as quickly as possible on or before the day of closing in the morning hours, like early. Thanks so much. This is Katrina Madewell. I know that this video was packed with information on what to expect once you actually have your home for sale and what happens as you get through the process. If you've got any questions about anything that I covered in this video or something else that you didn't quite understand, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is right here below the video. Thank you so much. Feel free to reach out anytime. Have a great day.